We have some interesting news to talk about regarding FromSoftware and Sony. Now, while nothing is confirmed, there are rumors circulating that Sony might be looking to increase its stake in FromSoftware, possibly even considering an acquisition. We have a lot to break down here and a ton to discuss, so I'm not going to edit much in this video. I doubt you guys care about the footage in the background that much anyway, but we've got to talk about this news, man. So, as always, if you want to stay up to date on all things FromSoftware, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Now let's break this down. Recently, speculation has emerged from various industry insiders suggesting that Sony is interested in deepening its relationship with FromSoftware, the developers behind hits like Elden Ring, Dark Souls, and Bloodborne. For those of you unaware, FromSoftware is a massive Japanese game development studio known for revolutionizing the action RPG genre. Sony already owns a minority stake in FromSoftware, a deal that was made a few years back when Kadokawa Corporation, the parent company of FromSoftware, sold portions of the studio to both Sony and the Chinese company Tencent. At that time, Sony acquired around 14% of the shares. With the unprecedented success of Elden Ring, which swayed the entire corporation's income to near record profits, it's not surprising that Sony might be looking to secure more influence over the studio. Now, if Sony were to acquire a majority stake, it would make FromSoftware more beholden to them. Part of the reason FromSoftware has been so successful over the past few years is because, at least from the outside looking in, Kadokawa has taken a very hands-off approach, really letting FromSoftware and Bandai Namco do their own thing. They didn't force Elden Ring DLC to come out any sooner, and didn't stop them from making Armored Core 6, even though they knew it would sell significantly less. But what about Sony in this case? If a deal were to happen, it doesn't necessarily mean that Sony would make any major changes. It's entirely possible that Sony does exactly what Kadokawa has done, let them do their own thing, make the games they want, and therefore be successful in that regard. However, we have to talk about the elephant in the room, and that is FromSoftware and Sony's past relationship centering around Bloodborne. This does show a history of Sony not letting FromSoftware do what they want. When Bloodborne was made, that was a joint partnership between FromSoftware and Sony, and it resulted in a phenomenal game. But since then, the IP of Bloodborne has essentially been held hostage by Sony, with everyone who has played the game begging for a remake or remaster, even FromSoftware themselves wanting to revisit it. For whatever reason, Sony hasn't let them. One way we could potentially look at this is that Sony may have been saving this project for a moment like this, waiting until they have more control before a Bloodborne remake or sequel happens, which I do think could be a very considerable possibility. It's important to keep in mind that Sony wouldn't just be buying into FromSoftware. They would be deepening their relationship with a studio that has become a massive cash cow in the gaming industry. Sony has been expanding their hold on various entertainment mediums lately, and acquiring more of FromSoftware could be a strategic move to bolster their gaming portfolio. So, what do you think about Sony potentially increasing its stake in FromSoftware? Do you think it would be a good move for both companies? Y'all let me know down below. In other news, we have a bit of leaks and rumors to discuss. Yesterday, a new rumor emerged about a potential Dark Souls 3 remaster. This comes from the Xbox Era podcast, and I'll play you the clip here.
What the rumor I've heard, the info I was given, what a little birdie told me.
All
now,
that jazz.
a lot of people will probably file this under this was obvious. Whatever, sue me. What I have heard is that we are getting a Dark Souls 3 remaster.
Oh, From fans will be happy with that.
That's what I've heard that that's what we are getting. Just got the DM out of nowhere the other day.
So, there you have it. Apparently, according to them, a Dark Souls 3 remaster is in the works. Here's the thing. This guy is apparently a pretty unreliable leaker, and I believe we here on the channel reported about a leak he had about a Bloodborne remaster several years ago, which of course did not happen. So take it with a grain of salt. It could be true, it might also not be true. But the thing is, I don't even think Dark Souls 3 needs one. The game looks and runs just fine on current-gen consoles, and to be completely honest, it's at the bottom of my list of games I want a remaster for. At the very least, I would be very happy to get back into PvP in that game, but even so, I just don't think the game needs it yet. We can look at the years, though, and do some math. Dark Souls 3 is over 5 years old, and both Dark Souls 1 and 2 received their remasters in a shorter time span than that. So if it were to happen, I'd be happy, but think the game's just fine as it is right now. We will see, though. But y'all let me know what you think down in the comments section below. Do you want a Dark Souls 3 remaster? Do you think it needs one? And if it does come out, will you be excited for it? With all that, if you enjoyed today's video, be sure to leave a like on it and subscribe if you're new around here, and I will catch you in the next one.